In any case, you were interviewed at 5:30 p.m. on February 10th, correct?
Correct.
Where did that interview take place?
At my home in Canton.
Who was present for that interview?
Me, my husband, Trooper Proctor, and Trooper Bukaki.
All right. In any case, you were interviewed at...
She said bukkake. She said bukkake. Julie Albert said bukkake. It's probably one of the most funniest things that have ever been said in a live courtroom setting. I literally lost my shit. I was texting and messaging everybody. She said bukkake. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Unbelievable. Well, welcome in everybody. LTL media here in Let's Talk Live. I appreciate everybody jumping in. Little spontaneous pop-up stream here. I didn't see anybody was going, so I said I'll jump in and do some content. And super relaxed stream tonight. I want to catch up on one of the court TV segments. I know. But it's closing arguments with Vinnie Politan, and I want to see Plevin and Nick Rocco kind of go at it with all of the new testimony that's happened. We're coming up on day 10 here in the Karen Reed trial, and I think the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come on Monday morning. Alan Jackson will be doing the cross on Brian Albert. I think it's going to be a long cross. What do you all think? I think it's going to be a very, very long cross, and I think that Brian Albert's going to have some very hard questions that he's going to have to answer for. It's coming. The heat is coming, and we saw it the other day when the heat was coming with Julie Albert. And Judge Bev had to jump in and was like, all right, everybody go home. And I'm like, wow, that's it? What's going on here? This is it? It's over? I mean, come on. So anyway, we're going to do the most recent court TV stream. We'll break that down. I'll be truthful. Haven't been able to watch it. So I said, why not? I'm in the studio. I was doing preparation work for Jess Machado that's going to be on the show tomorrow night. And she was in the court. Day one on Karen Reed's trial. I want to get all her complete insight of how everything was going. How are people reacting? What was the jury like? I think it's going to be a great, compelling show tomorrow night. We're going to do that at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I was in here and I said, I haven't watched this yet. Let's play through. I want to see Plevin and Nick Rocco kind of go at it. So I think that'd be good to do that. And then we had probably one of the most craziest moments, one of the most compelling moments that I've ever seen in a courtroom setting with Turtleboy and the Commonwealth placing a motion against Turtleboy to remove him from the courtroom. Tim Bradel, his attorney, was present actually in the court, not there in this specific case, and jumped in and did what great, absolute, amazing lawyers do and spoke up and defended Turtleboy. In what the bullshit motion to expel him and remove him from the courtroom. And it seemed like Bev, somewhat, I guess, compromised and said, look, he can't be here during these key witnesses. Obviously it's the McAlberts, and gave Bradel at least, I think, 7 days to respond to it. I'm sure he will. Again, I'm not sure if TV is going to get his way. But I gave him all. I commend him a lot because he didn't tuck his tail. He didn't leave the court. He just went out inside the courtroom, outside the courtroom, continued to stream, which was awesome. He didn't walk out and take the walk of shame and stayed with his conviction. I have to say, his behavior has been amazing. He hasn't done anything. If anything, we've seen all the bullshit antics that Grant has been pulling with him on the outside. But I mean, even Bev said he was there early. He was prepared. He had been quiet. He's there to report. And that's what he wants to do. And that is his right to do that. That is his First Amendment free speech right to be inside that courtroom and continue to report on this case. But I digress on all that. I'm going to get to the chat here and look in the chat. Thank you all for being here this evening and popping in. And we'll pull up and see what everybody said here. So let's go back. So Bukkake did happen. Yes, it did happen. Cindy B says that cracks me up when she said that. And please hit the thumbs up button on the way in. Thank you so much, Cindy. I appreciate it. Larissa says, best moment ever. Absolutely the best moment ever. What the Fox is in the room says, hey, Brian and mods and chat. Good to see you. Cal says, so happy to see you tonight. Thank you. Scott's in the chat. Thanks for being here, Scott. Thanks for being a moderator. I always enjoy hanging out and talking, life in general and all things Karen Reed when I can get out in front of the courtroom and see you. So thank you for being here. Cold and Covered's here. What's going on? How are you? Petrified Rag has all the laughy emojis. Thank you so much. Todd's here. He says, cheers, LTL. What's going on? Good to see you here. Let's see. Hey, Dino, what's up? How are you? And Lee and Susan said, hello, Brian. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for being a member for 10 months. I appreciate that. Mary says, you've got some explaining to do. Brian Albert is so cocky, but no Max Reject. Hey, listen, Brian Albert shows up at a court. He's wearing everybody's calling the Mr. Rogers sweater. And I made a point out on my Twitter. I said, it's funny, the oversized jacket, he grows the goatee in, it's all gray. To me, when I saw that, I'm like, is this guy trying to appear old and weak? We know he's a trained MMA fighter. Retired Boston police officer. He, always was in pretty good shape from what I saw. And, all of a sudden we're going to play this frail, old man, weak man, this oversized jacket to hide, the extremities of his body, how big he is. And, hunkers down in the witness stand like this and, complete cover up here, complete cover up. Hiding his identity in front of the jury. But like I said, Monday is going to be very, very compelling once Alan Jackson gets his hands around Brian Albert, and he's going to have a lot to explain for. Peter's in the chat. Thanks for being a member. Yo, Isaiah, what's going on, buddy? Nice to see everybody here. Scott says Judge Bev is a benzo puppet of D.A. Morsi, truly Massachusetts' worst judge. Absolutely. Liz is here. Hello, how are you? Hello. Danielle's in the house. Says hello, Brian, mods, and chat. All right, so let's do this. I haven't watched this court TV segment. I want to get through this. I thought the back and forth with Kevin Plevin, which I call him Yellow Pee-Pee Trails, and Nick Rocco, I think has been pretty good the last couple of segments. And I actually had the opportunity to go down there about 2 weeks ago and actually watch them live and go at it. And we'll check this out. And again, very relaxed stream. Just wanted to jump in. I haven't had the opportunity to watch this fully through. We'll do a little watch party here. We'll comment and just have some fun and hang out in the chat. And I appreciate y'all being here on this Saturday night. All right, let's pull this one up. And then obviously we'll play the court segment with Turtleboy the other day. All right, here we go. Let's have a little watch party. We'll hang out in a watch party here.
O'Keefe was found unresponsive on the ground in the snow. Officer O'Keefe had spent the prior evening bar hopping downtown.
Just a reminder, 25% of all donations that come in tonight will be donated to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. I've been doing this, almost since trial started. So I'm going to keep with that commitment. 25% of all donations tonight that come in will go to Karen Reed's defense. And then what we'll do, or what I've been doing, is I've been posting receipts up on my YouTube community page. I've been posting them up on my Facebook page. And also you can just go directly to her link and you'll see, and I've been labeling them LTL media chat raiser, and then putting the date and the total amount that has been donated. So we'll keep with that theme tonight, and we'll keep rolling on here.
We're hosting an after party and had invited John and his girlfriend, Karen Reed. Karen never went inside. She says she dropped John off and went back to his house.
Listen, Scott, I got to say, Nick Rocco is on it. I plan on having him on the show soon. I know he's been very busy. He has his outside life. We chatted about 2 weeks ago when I was down at the live court TV, and he said he would be willing to come on. So I'm going to reach out to him pretty soon and have him on the show. And we'll go from there. But I completely agree. He says Nick Rocco has seized his role and ran with it. A great spokesperson for the Free Karen Reed movement. And I absolutely agree with that. He has been just on fire on court TV. And what a well-rounded young man and well-spoken young man, to be on the spotlight in front of, millions of people, a worldwide stage, and be able to come off like the cuff like that, and he's been doing a great job. So congrats, Nick. You've been killing it over there, and really being one of the forefront people in this movement. So thank you. And you have raised so much money for Karen, and believe me, it doesn't go unnoticed. You've been doing a great job. All right, let's keep going.
Then woke up early and began frantically looking for him. Prosecutors say Karen is the one who killed John. They say she ran him over with the back of her car on purpose because their relationship had soured and she was filled with jealous rage.
This third grade graphic, which is completely wrong. Plevin's graphic here. It's kind of embarrassing, actually.
Karen says that's not true and believes it was actually the people inside the house who ambushed John and then framed her for his murder. Tonight, we have the latest from court as Brian and Nicole Albert take the stand. We'll take you inside the home and break down both theories of this murder as we continue our investigation into the tragic death of Officer John O'Keefe.
Welcome in, everybody.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Closing Argument.
I haven't heard Nick on the radio. I'm going to have to check that out. Do you know what time he's been going on there, Scott? Like what time in the morning? Is it just right before trial? If it is, let me know. Drop it in the chat.
What a big Friday. What a big Friday in Dedham, Massachusetts, in the case against Karen Reed. A lot to get through tonight. Sit down, get ready. We're going to walk you through it. We're going to take you into the house, take a look at all the theories here tonight. But let's start here with the death scene, which is the Alberts' home. However you want to define that, whether it is the front lawn, which is part of the home, or perhaps inside, depends upon your perspective. But the bottom line is, this was the scene of John O'Keefe's death. He was on that front lawn when he was found.
Hi, Barbie. Thank you.
He was left out in the cold for a long.
Just to let everybody know, I know everybody's been giving me a lot of feedback on the studio. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It has been an adventure here at LTL Studios. But the cool thing is, and I'm looking right now, brand new computer is sitting right there. I plan on completing my live with Jess tomorrow. I'm going to be live streaming court all day on Monday. I do the enhanced sound. And my style is I tend to sit back and not comment as much and give commentary because I want to actually hear the testimony. And a lot of people will just come in and watch that, and that's fine. You'll choose whatever creator you want to watch. And believe me, there's been a lot of amazing creators that have been doing this. And of course, the King on the Hill, Turtleboy. So whatever stream you want to watch, I'm going to do it on Monday. But after Monday, I'm going to shut down for a couple days, get the new computer all running all my new wires. I'm going to connect all my cameras, my audio, and make sure that everything is working properly. I'm probably going to do some test members only streams so I can get some feedback this week and hopefully get everything up and running. I will be out of state on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but hoping that everything is going to be ready for next week, Monday, and start actually getting live guests in here. I have some live guests in my head of people that I want to reach out to and get in here. And hopefully we can start doing the live thing here, right in the studio and hang out. I think for me, when you have someone in front of you, it's so much more organic than having someone on a digital live. I love doing those, But of course, to have like the real person in front of you, you can see their mannerisms, their face, how they're reacting to the conversation. It's just so much more organic. So pretty soon, I promise. Hopefully within the next week and a half, we'll start getting some live guests. All right, enough of that. Let's get back into Vinny and this Court TV segment. All right, let's go.
Long time, and he was killed. The question is, was he murdered?
I will be live on Monday.
Was he accidentally killed? Did something else happen? I mean, these are all the things we're trying to figure out here. And the jury has to figure out. They're the ones. But there are competing theories, and both of them are really murder theories. And the first one is that he's murdered outside on the lawn by Karen Reed with her car. The murder weapon is her Lexus SUV. And from looking at the evidence that we've seen so far inside of this courtroom, including videos of just before this alleged murder, something happened in that drive, that very short drive, according to the prosecution. Something happened in that drive from
Brian Albert's going to have a lot to answer for. His timeline has changed. Now he's basically saying, I don't know who was in the house at this specific time. Obviously, Jackson's going to question him on why didn't you come out of the house? I find it, he was when Nicole Albert was on the stand the other day, Liz was leaning and says, I find it very hard to believe that there are fire engines coming down the street. There are lights that are emergency respond lights that are going down on the street. There's commotion. There's people moving. There's tons of activity out in front of your house. And all Nicole Albert can say is, oh, well, my shades were drawn and I couldn't see or hear anything. That's a complete bullshit statement. And it's funny, when she made that statement, I was referring last summer in my neighborhood. It was about maybe 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And I had just literally laid down, just starting to doze off. And all of a sudden, I had my shades drawn. And all of a sudden, there's just lights, like blue and red lights. Not even hearing any sirens, nothing. Just blue and red lights. I jump up. Now you start hearing some of the distant sirens going off. I finally jump up, and I look out the window, and there's just this orange glow. Well, two houses down from me, a house was on fire. And just the lights going off, the red and blue lights, when emergency started to respond there, that actually made me jump out of bed and was like, what the hell is going on? And then, you start hearing all the sirens and everything. But how do you not notice that? How do you not notice that? It's almost virtually impossible.
Waterfall Bar and Grill. I was there. I made this drive to the Alberts home. It is quick. It is super quick.
Yeah,
now, I don't know if they knew exactly where they're going.
Great point.
Maybe they passed the house once, had to loop around a little bit. It's a little cold, whatever. But it's a quick drive. But something happened in that drive, if you believe the prosecution's theory. Some sort of fight, something happened. And as a result, when John O'Keefe got out to go inside that home to the party, Karen Reed pulled her car up, stopped, threw it in reverse, and put her foot on the pedal, was looking at him in the backup camera, and ran him over on purpose. And then after she hit him, she left him there on the lawn to die in the cold and drove away. Okay? That is the prosecution theory here, based upon what we've heard from the opening statement, based upon what they've said in pretrial motions, based upon the evidence that we've seen so far. So what's the other theory here? Is that something happened inside the home?
Great point, Mike.
That he's ambushed.
Got a leaf blower
Maybe down in that basement, because he's walking up and down the stairs, according to some information that they believe they've extracted from John O'Keefe's phone. That he's walking up and down stairs, which would put him down in the basement. So what happened down there? He was ambushed by who? Why? Again, you look at the video at the waterfall, and there's a lot of folks in that video who are at the house. Was it one of them, or was it someone else who was at the house? Was something said? Did something happen? That's what the defense is saying. And they're saying ambushed. Ambushed. Which, when you say ambushed, to me, that means more than one person. You don't get ambushed by one person. Right? So.
How about Julie? How about Julie Albert? always looking at Lally to object. How about that? I was just looking at this comment. Yeah, Brian Albert was looking down a lot. I noticed that too. Liz says, I thought it was crazy how many times that Brian Albert was looking down and his wife kept looking at Lally. And Julie was doing the same thing. And Julie got caught a couple of times where Lally was supposed to object and she said her answer anyway. The thing that you have to keep in mind too, that even though Bev might not, when something is sustained, Bev might not allow that order of questioning, but it's still being said in front of the jury. It's still being said in front of the jury. So they're hearing the questions that are being asked. So even if they're objected, the question is still put on the record. So keep that in mind. They're still hearing things. I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of objecting on Monday when there is cross on Brian Albert. A lot of objecting.
For whatever reason, people inside that house
say this too. Probably a lot of sidebars.
wanted to murder a Boston police officer. That's what the defense is saying. So today, huge day, because this home is the centerpiece of this entire.
I don't think anything like that would be able to happen. Bev clearly would have seen that. If someone would have caught that in the courtroom, I mean, that could have caused a lot of controversy. And of course, if he was doing it and Bev didn't address it, it would create even more controversy. So I don't think it was anything like that. But he definitely was looking down. Definitely looking down.
Case, and the homeowners testify today. One still has to come back on Monday for cross-examination. But yes, Brian and Nicole Albert, the owners of the home, testified. And their testimony is the first time we're hearing from anyone who was inside the house that night. Significant, significant day, big testimony. Let's take a look at some of the biggest moments.
Rarely doesn't mean to you 67.
Did they put Bukkake in here? Did they put the Bukkake segment? I doubt it. But this is going to get into the 67 times. 67 times. Did you think that was? Oh no, I don't think that's a lot at all.
And phone conversations within a 7-month period.
Yeah, that's
does
a
it?
lot.
It's not a lot. I wouldn't think it's a lot.
You certainly mentioned my client's arrest with Courtney Proctor on the very day that she was arrested and you were talking to Courtney, correct?
Correct.
Did you tell Courtney Proctor during any of these 67 phone calls that you were a witness in her brother's case?
I don't remember.
See, when people look around and they search in their memory bank when they're doing that, and believe me, the jury's seeing all this. The jury's seeing all the body language, and that's why the defense wanted to change to this courtroom. Because when we saw the larger courtroom, when Yannetti had those sample photos of where the jury would be seating and seeing him, you're not going to be, the juries that are on that far side are not going to be able to see the reactions of the faces of these witnesses. And they wanted to make sure that it was clear. So you can see them looking around. You can see them shuffling in their seat. You can see it when the heat is coming down, how they're reacting. This is very, very important for a jury. And believe me, I've told you before, I have an inside source that has been in the courtroom since day one. And they told me that the jurors are very, very attentive when Jackson, Yannetti, and Little are speaking. They are taking a ton of notes. They're getting tired of hearing about the weather from Lally, and they are responding to these witnesses. They are shaking their head when every EMS worker says, "I don't remember, I don't know, I can't recall." They're shaking their head in disgust. So they're not buying it. They're not buying it. And I can't wait tomorrow when I get the opportunity to speak to Jess Pachado and ask her about day one. I want to know what it was like on day one, seeing those jurors for the first time walk through, and the reaction of everybody, seeing those jurors, the spectators seeing the jurors for the first time. I think it's going to be really compelling, which she's going to be able to tell us. All right, let's move on here. All right, let's do this real quick. Hockey Mama, $4.99 kicks it off. Thank you so much. She said they are so scared and intimidated by TB, yet it is clear they love to show and stalk him. And she says because Bukkake, yes, because of Bukkake. That is what TB named Butnick. Now he's known as Bukkake. I can't believe that she said Bukkake. I can't believe she said Bukkake. They're clearly watching Turtleboy. But 25% of your donation will go towards Karen Reed's defense fund. I would love to get to at least $50 tonight donated to Karen. So if you want to send anything over, you can super chat, and all my affiliated links will be dropped with Nightbot here throughout the chat. All right, let's keep playing through here. She said Bukkake. I can't believe that. She literally said Bukkake.
I learned that Colin was at 34 Fairview on January 29th of 2022, correct?
Yes, after midnight.
And you now know that that is the same house outside which John O'Keefe was found dead that morning, correct?
Yes, I do.
The only shitty thing about it is that, TB getting essentially kicked out of the courtroom, he's not going to be able to see all the reactions on all these witnesses, the McCabe's face and Trooper Proctor, when they're on cross, and they have to face extremely hard questions from Alan Jackson, Davey Nettie, or Liz Little. I mean, it sucks. He's not going to be there to report on it, but certainly he can stream it and get all his reactions there. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. And I had actually the honor to be on his streams on some of the hearings. And I want to thank TB for allowing me to do that and asking me to join him. It's an honor every time I get to go over and hang out on your channel. So I do appreciate that. All right, let's keep playing through here.
Turning back to Mr. O'Keefe just for a second, if you recall, what, if anything, do you recall him to be wearing as far as clothing was concerned during your interaction?
I believe he had a hat on, some sort of just sweatshirt, jeans, and sneakers.
At any point in time that you saw him or while he was talking to you, did you see any sort of winter jacket or big coat or anything like that?
No.
Specifically, John O'Keefe or Karen Reed that you saw at the bar earlier that night, at any point in time on the evening of the 28th?
I think Lally, I said this the other day, I think Lally sounds like Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. I literally think he does. Every time I hear his voice now, it just sounds like Hannibal Lecter to me. I think, the next thing he's going to say is, I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. I'm just waiting for that line to come out of his mouth. But he does. Does he not sound like Hannibal the Cannibal? I think he does.
The early morning of the 29th, did either of those people come into your home?
No, they never came into my home. I had missed the conversations about Jennifer reaching out with John or her texting him and him texting her about where we lived. I didn't even realize that was happening, that they had any intention to come. At some point between 6 and 6:30 that morning, my sister Jennifer came.
Why is she looking down?
Bursting into my bedroom. And she's saying, he's out in the snow. We found him out in the snow. We don't know if he's okay. And my immediate thought was just that something had happened to one of my children. Something had happened to one of her children. I couldn't imagine why she was in my bedroom at this time in the morning.
You're lying.
Did you know John O'Keefe?
So I knew John O'Keefe, but not well. I had only met him.
So Teresa, thank you so much for the Buy Me a Coffee, the 15 on Buy Me a Coffee. So that's $20 total. I'm going to drop that in the chat. And 25% of that will go towards Karen Reed's defense fund. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, let's keep going here.
2 times prior to that night. But I knew him to be a Boston cop.
Scott says, problem is Hannibal Lecter is 100 times more intelligent than Adam Lally. Yeah, it's true. He's definitely eaten a lot more brains than Lally. He has a lot more brains because he probably has eaten a lot more. But let's keep playing through here.
Of him, and I knew some things about him.
Through the course of your work over the decades that you worked with Boston Police, did you ever work with or have any professional sort of interaction with John?
No, I don't remember working with him directly within the Boston Police Department. I knew him to be a friend of my sister-in-law, Jen, and her husband, Matt. I knew him to be a friend of my brother, Chris, and my sister-in-law, Julie. I knew him to be a friend of my brother, Kevin.
Do this super chat really. Charlie, thank you so much. $20 super chat says the whole world is watching. Auntie Bev can't protect Lolliflop and the McAlberts much longer. Justice will be served. Thank you so much. That is $40 total right now, and 25% will go towards Karen Reed's defense fund. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for becoming or for being a channel member here. And if you are a channel member, please take use of that benefit. Go over on my homepage, scroll all the way down, and you see all the members only content there. It's a benefit to you. It is a benefit to you. All right, let's keep rolling through here. Court TV. Can't wait till we get to Plevin and Nick Rocco.
At any point in time during the evening, did you know or did you become aware of either John O'Keefe or the defendant Karen Reed coming over to your house?
No.
And at no point in time.
I want to do this, and I don't want to take away from this. Teresa said on her Buy Me Cup, she says, keep doing your shows. Your shows are great, and all the negative comments are jealous people. Unfortunately, jealousy is a disease, and they have no cure for it, and they are the ones that think. Let's see. She said, and there's no cure for it, and they are the ones that think their shit don't stink because they haven't taken their head out of their asses long enough. It smells. Keep up the great work. I appreciate it, Teresa. Great comment. I made a comment earlier about people coming at me, and it's perfectly fine. You know, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I love what I do. I have a passion for what I do. I want to keep doing my part in this movement, just like all of you. And I question the naysayers. You know, I say, what have you done? You know, do you have a platform? Have you been out to the courthouse? Have you done any type of fundraising? Have you given back to Karen Reed's defense fund? You know, if you haven't, then I don't think that you have a pedestal or a leg to stand on. Listen, I might not be a lot of things, but I'm very passionate about this, and I'm very passionate about this case, and I care 1,000,000,000% on Karen's well-being and getting justice for Officer John O'Keefe, and you all do your part. But I ask these people, you know, what have you done? You know, what have you done? So anyway, we will move on from that. And I think I just saw another chat come through. Lisa says, justice for Officer John O'Keefe, free Karen Reed. Lack of eye contact is a sign of lying. I completely agree. I've watched many experts on body language. And she says, I cannot wait for the cross on Monday. It is going to be absolutely compelling on Monday. I cannot wait. So we will add the $4.99. We have a $45 total so far. And if one of my mods in here can keep just a total on that, because I tend to forget sometimes. But anyway, Cindy, 13-month member. Look at this. 13-month member says, still following and love your channel. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate you. And I appreciate everything that you have done for my channel. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay, let's keep rolling.
Over the course of that evening or the early morning there, did John O'Keefe or Karen Reed physically come into your house?
Believe me, that's going to be the question. You know, where is Chloe? Why didn't you come out? Why did you sell your house so quickly? Why did you say that you couldn't afford to live there, but you remodeled your basement floor before you left? Believe me, all the tough questions will be there for Brian Albert. Why did you destroy your phone? Why did you destroy your phone? All of the tough questions will be for Brian Albert. I'm going to guarantee you, this guy's going to say, I don't remember. I don't recall. He's going to look to Lally to save him. Lally's going to object. Bev's most likely going to give it to him. So I'm going to tell you, just be prepared. Be prepared.
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed never
like
entered my house.
Southern, right? That's his twin.
Big day, huge witnesses, and Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson is there outside the courthouse in Dedham, Massachusetts tonight. Matt, great to see you. You know, the Free Karen Reed movement, really founded by the local...
Scott chiming in says, see, I don't get the criticism of various creators and their style and platforms. They all have a lane, and so does the viewer. Pick a lane, everybody. It all works out. The bottom line is that we're all doing something. That's the bottom line. We're fighting for Karen, and we're fighting for justice for John. That is the bottom line here. Everybody has their own particular style. I praise every creator that has been out there and done an amazing, you know, their amazing part and their piece in all of this. I think we all just praise each other. And, you know, why would you get so mad at someone that's helping Karen's defense, that's raising money, that's kicking back, that's helping. I mean, I have a track record. I leave a track record. I post receipts. I am kicking back. I am helping. I'm doing everything just like all of you. You all at the courtroom. You all at the standouts. I mean, all these people that stood out at standouts in the freezing cold over the winter. I asked these people that say shit about this movement, and I asked them, like, what have you done? I don't see, the funny thing is, none of these people that shit on all of us and call us shit bags and all this other stuff, I haven't seen one of them down at the courthouse. You know where we are. I mean, you can literally come up to us and confront us or talk to us. We're there all the time. It's not like we're hiding. We're out there. Where are these people? I don't see them. I don't see them. I've given back, and I have receipts. I've given back over $1,000 to Karen's defense fund. I don't, that's why I say, where are you? Where are you? What have you been doing? Tom's chiming in. Tom, thank you so much. Says, don't listen to negative people. Do your best. Keep on doing the right thing. Wait till for the book. I'm ready taking notes, names, and free Karen Reed. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you, man. You were the first ones that I've met in this movement. Besides TV, you were always welcoming. You've always been warm and kind every time I see you. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I'm always going to remember about you is besides your kindness, besides the endless lives that you do down at the courtroom, you've stood out there in freezing cold days. And I got to tell you, one of the best moments that I ever had with you was about a week and a half ago when you and I kind of toured around the courtroom in Dedham. And I thought it was such a fun time seeing all those old houses with you. And it was awesome. It was such a good time. And I appreciate you, doing that with me and taking me around. I had such a great time. So you are always welcome on my channel. You are always welcome on the show. And you are someone that I will never forget. And I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to meet and befriend you. So thank you. Thank you, Tom. All right. We're at $50 total right now. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep rolling through and play through this. All right, let's see this. El Detective de Juan, 4-month membership. Friday's best highlight was from Attorney Bradel, not even involved in the case, calling out Auntie Beverage on live TV in front of millions. And I'm going to play that segment here in a little while. Thank you. All right, let's keep a rock and rolling here.
Blogger, journalist, YouTuber, whatever you want to call him, Turtleboy. And today, a little drama involving Turtleboy inside the courtroom. What can you tell us?
David, nice to see you. A lot of drama here and never a dull day in Dedham, right? So when we talk about Aiden Carney, he is the blogger known as Turtleboy, and he was booted from key testimony, not only today, but in the future for a lot of key witnesses because the Commonwealth, they accuse him of witness intimidation. So he's not going to be allowed in the courtroom. He said that his attorney happened to be here at the courthouse on an unrelated matter, and that attorney argued this.
He wishes to be in the galley of journalists like everyone else and cover the case. There's never been a problem whatsoever. This is more personalized retaliation from the Norfolk County DA's office.
By the way, what the fuck is Grant doing in the background? He's like jittering around like a 3-year-old back there. I noticed that, and I know it was pointed out too. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing?
Against Mr. Carney. And there's absolutely no reason for the government to sneak behind my back to interfere with his First Amendment rights. It's outrageous. And on procedural grounds, I ask you to deny the motion.
My role in this.
Bradel in that moment, totally unprepared, just comes right into live court and had to kind of riff this off and just shows his brilliance, an amazing job that he does as an attorney. And I have to say, I commend TV for holding it together. I would have been fucking ripped. I know inside he probably was boiling, but kept his composure, was very professional about it, like a journalist would be. Stood there, and I said, he didn't falter, he didn't fold. He went outside the courtroom in the hallway and continued to stream. So kudos on you, man. Awesome job. And I hope that you have the ability to get back in there and continue reporting on the story as it unfolds here during trial. All right, let's keep playing here.
This case, Commonwealth versus Karen Reed, is to assure that the defendant's constitutional right to a fair trial are honored and upheld. And because of the chilling effect that Mr. Kearney's presence, I find, will have on the witness's testimony, I'm going to excuse him while the named witnesses in the Commonwealth's motion, Julie Nagel, Christopher Albert, Colin Albert, Michael Proctor, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, Brian Albert, and Yuri Buchanan. And the Commonwealth also today requested Nicole Albert because of the incidents that reportedly have been held at her home. I'm going to excuse him during all of that testimony.
That's a lot of names, Vinny, and a lot of witnesses we've yet to hear from here in Dedham. Now, after that happened, I noticed that he was on a bench, a park bench at the end of the courthouse, watching online. He says he's going to appeal. And in the meantime, his supporters, they're here at the courthouse each and every day. He was in line with a lot of the other media in the media line beginning at 4:30 yesterday to get one of those 10 seats in the courtroom.
This case, as we've been saying from the beginning, unlike any other. Okay, let's get to the big testimony today. Let's begin with Nicole Albert. What did you find as the key takeaways from her testimony?
She lied.
Yeah, she went first of the two.
She lied about, oh, I didn't hear the sirens or the lights. I had my shades drawn. Yeah, okay.
It's the owners of 34 Fairview. And I have to tell you this much, the mood here at the courthouse, it changed when both she and her husband walked up those steps and walked in. Everyone was bracing for what she was about to say because, like you said, she was the first witness on the stand that was actually in that house for that after party. Now, she testified to this. She said that Karen and John never entered the home. Selling the house and getting rid of the dog was just a coincidence and had nothing to...
Yeah, I found that very interesting too, how they said Karen and John never entered the home. Not John, not just John, but Karen and John. That was a little interesting.
Do with John O'Keefe's death. Take a listen to this.
You testified that your German Shepherd, Chloe, was also at the house when you arrived home on January 29th, correct?
Yes.
She's a large German Shepherd.
Yep, about 70 pounds.
She's not great with strangers.
I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that it's kind of a poorly worded question. Would you say that she's good with strangers?
I'd say she's fine with strangers.
Why you got rid of her?
Ms. Albert, Chloe has injured other humans, hasn't she?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
In one incident in May of 22, when
Twice. It was twice. Don't lie. It was twice.
she got out and was fighting with another dog, the woman who was dog it was tried to break.
I made this point the other day. I said, I was talking to my girlfriend. I said, look, who after 7 years just says, we're just going to get rid of the dog. You've now bonded with a dog for 7 years. And one day you're just going to wake up and go, maybe we should just get rid of the dog. It absolutely doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all.
Up the two dogs. And while she was trying to break up the two dogs, she got injured.
Ms. Albert, you don't have Chloe anymore, do you?
Nope.
In May of 2022, 4 months after Mr. O'Keefe's death, you got rid of your family dog of 6 years.
Objection.
So is that true? Is that when you got rid of your dog?
I did not get rid of my dog. I rehomed my dog.
Your dog is no longer in the Canton area, correct?
No, but I know where she is. She's in Vermont.
Yeah, sure.
And that dog, Vinny, said to be aggressive. The defense really pointed that out, that this dog has attacked at least 1 or 2 people trying to break up a fight.
V, thank you so much for sending 5 on Cash App. We'll add that. That's 55 to the total right now. And 25% will go towards Karen Reed's defense fund. Thank you so much. So we have 55 total so far. All right, let's keep playing here.
She was more aggressive towards other dogs, this German Shepherd mix. The other thing that stood out to me with this particular witness, Nicole Albert's testimony, is the fact that she puts Colin Albert at her house at 12:15 in the morning. When she walks through the door, she says she sees him, but that's the exact time that his mom said that he was already at her house. That testimony yesterday.
Significant, both the dog and Colin Albert for the defense, right? Because the defense is alleging the wounds on John O'Keefe's arms are from the German Shepherd. We've been hearing that in many pretrial hearings in this case, and the timing of when Colin Albert leaves and gets home significant as well. All right, let's move to Brian Albert, who is a fellow Boston police.
Mr. Rogers, look at this. He looks like Plevin. But I love this. I love this look, Brian. You're trying to hide yourself. A lot of people calling him Mr. Rogers. I love that. I love the gray goatee. I love that, growing it out, trying to look like an old man. I mean, it definitely aged in 2 years. You can definitely see the stress is weighing, but I love this. I noticed the oversized coat in this look. You know, let's make myself look old and weak. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm going to be curious to see what he looks like on Monday. I wonder if he'll come in like a cardigan or something like that. But I noticed this right away, and I pointed out to several people. I said, geez, looks like he's really dumbing down his look. I mean, we know he's a trained MMA fighter, retired Boston police officer. You know, here we are, Mr. Rogers now, Mr. Clean Face, right?
Police officer, as John O'Keefe was.
Yeah, won't you be
his
my
testimony is significant as well. What are your takeaways there?
He had major testimony today. He was only under direct, but he also testified to the fact that it was a coincidence, selling the house, also rehoming the dog. And he testified to the fact that Karen and John never entered his house. He never saw them there. And then he said after everyone had left that night and he went to bed, he slept through the sirens. He didn't hear the police officers on his lawn. He didn't know anything was going on until Jen McCabe came in his house, in his bedroom, burst through
hard 48. I heard she's 48 years old. That's a hard 48. Jenny says Julie looks like she aged from that photo with the fence. That's a hard 48, bro. I mean, that's stress.
The doors and screamed that someone was out there on the lawn. Here's part of his testimony there.
I didn't see that there was a reason to go out to that area. The police had already been in my house. They had already talked to us about what was going on.
That's a hard.
It was a snowstorm at that point. They were trying to conduct an investigation, and I didn't want to interfere with it or have anything to do with it.
He's old.
So he's a Boston police officer. He knows.
Heather Reed jumping in saying, Monday the jury will forget that Karen is a defendant and think for a second Jackson is prosecuting Brian Albert. I can't wait for him to cry on the stand. Yeah, it's going to be tough. He's going to be up against Alan Jackson, and Alan Jackson is cagey. I love watching him because he kind of lulls you a little bit and he'll get you to say some things, and then there's that twist, and then he starts getting that truth out of you, and it comes out. It comes out towards the end. He's very cagey, very smart. And, you know, like Melanie Little says, you know, he is one of the best defense attorneys in the nation. So really good stuff. I can't wait. It's going to be a masterclass on Monday, but we'll add that 5 towards Karen's defense fund. So we're total right now. We're at $60 total, and 25% of that go that towards Karen Reed's defense fund. I just had another cash app from Kerry come in, $20. Thank you so much. So we'll add that to Karen Reed's defense fund as well. So we're at 85 right now, and 25% will go towards Karen Reed. All right, let's keep playing here.
CPR, and he hears of a situation happening on his lawn. That was his answer for not going outside during direct. Well, on Monday, he's going to be on cross. We met up with Alan Jackson as he was leaving the courthouse, and here's what he said.
It's a pathetic excuse for why he didn't come outside when then there's a man dying on his lawn, and there's 6 emergency vehicles and 2 SUVs and 3 women, one of whom is screaming her head off. on a quiet street. It makes absolutely no sense. I slept through it. They've got a 70-pound German Shepherd 6 feet from that window.
I love the fact that they have been quiet through all the hearings when the media has talked to them, and they are speaking out now because the world is watching this case. I love this. I love this tactic from Jackson, getting the truth out there, letting people know. Good stuff. I'm surprised. I think a lot of them open up. I think Karen was actually talking the other day when I saw some of the mainstream media. They asked her some questions. She said something. So it's good. You know, this is good. Charlie, thank you so much for the 5. Yes, smooth like butter. Like butter, Jackson. We'll add that up to the total. So I think we're up to what, 90 right now? $90 total, 25% will go to Karen Reed's defense fund. All right, let's go.
It would have been barking.
Ellen Jackson, right there in the beginning of that statement, said it was pathetic that he didn't go outside.
It is.
So you know that cross is going to be contentious.
That is
Get your popcorn.
First responder. That is, anybody is in any type of trouble, and you are there, and you're a trained first responder. It is your duty to at least to go out and make sure that someone is okay. I think you actually can get in trouble if you're driving like down a highway or a street and you are an EMT, a doctor, a first responder, and you don't respond and they find out that you didn't stop. And I think the only way you really can get out of that is if you're being like called to the hospital or something like that. I may be wrong. Maybe there's some EMT workers or first responders here in the chat that can correct me, but I think you can actually get in trouble for that if you don't stop and ask if people need help. All right, let's keep going.
Absolutely. I mean, this is Monday's really the beginning of the defense case. It's the beginning of the defense case, the cross-examination of the people who were in.
All right, we had a couple of donations come in. Let's add this to the total. Yeah, Tom says you're right, Brian. Yeah, you're mandated to stop. You have to. And everybody's saying I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I think like I said, I think the only way is if you've actually been like paged to your job or maybe a hospital you work at. You're required to stop. You are required to stop. So we are currently at, let's see, we're at 85. And I just saw some other donations come through. Ryan came through with a $20. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We'll add that to Karen Reed's defense fund. So we got 105, 25% will go towards Karen. And then a big, huge $50 Cash App. Thank you so much. I'll say Ma, thank you so much with the $50 Cash App. I do appreciate that. And 25% of that will go towards Karen as well. I'm at 155. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep playing.
Inside the home, but it starts with really Brian Albert. Matt Johnson, you need to rest up this weekend. So do that. Monday night, we'll see you again.
I'll try.
Thanks so much.
All right,
all right, folks, when we come back, we've got a lot more to get to. We are going to take you inside that home. We're going to show you the floor plans. We'll show you some images from inside and then talk about where everyone is, what they could see, and we'll evaluate the two theories.
11.
Whether John O'Keefe was killed outside or inside. Plus, coming up next hour.
Tammy Daybell's cause of death is front and center in this case. We'll listen to the deputy coroner.
And then we.
Central, only on Court TV.
Where within your house was everybody else sort of situated?
So everybody was in the kitchen, and then we have a connecting dining room, but it's opened. It's only, a difference of 5 feet. And then we have the family room den that's adjacent to the kitchen. But they're all close proximity.
That's the homeowner, one of the homeowners, Brian Albert, talking about the after party and where everyone was in the house. So what we're going to do, this segment, we're going to take a look at what is going on inside and the floor plans from the perspective of what could people see from inside the house if a murder was taking place outside of the house. Then in our next segment, we'll take a look at the defense theory. But here we're going to focus on the prosecution theory. So let's take a
Love
look.
this, Kim. Kim says, Vinny has to remain neutral on TV, but he knows. I think Vinny knows. Vinny knows. Vinny knows. Former prosecutor, I'm telling you, Vinny knows. Vinny knows what's up. What was I going to say? When I actually had the opportunity to meet him, I had my Turtleboy Free Karen Reed shirt on. And I remember it was unzipped a little bit. He's like, you got to zip up your jacket. I can't have it. Like, he's like, I got to remain neutral. And I'm like, it's perfectly fine. It was just such an honor to go down there and meet. I fucking met Vinny. I met Vinny. That was badass. And I love the fact that he's been out there when he's been down here outside the courthouse and talking with everybody out there. I think it's really good. Good stuff. Very, very good stuff. But that was cool. It was that was a great opportunity. Got to meet him, shook his hand, got my photo taken with him a couple of times. So that was cool. Dina, thank you so much for the $9.99. We'll round that up to 10. She says, everyone in the house says who was there in the AM. I didn't hear anyone say Brian Jr. Did Julie say his car was there? I can't remember. Did Julie say his car was there? I know that day I was working, so I couldn't hear all of the testimony. And believe me, I've been trying to do my best to catch up on all this. It's been a lot because I do work full time and I try to come in these as much as I can. But maybe someone here can tell. Did she say his car was there? But we'll round that up to a $10. So we're at $165 right now, and we will kick back 25 to Karen. I'm trying to remember. Did she say his car was there? I know she definitely said Bukkake.
Look at the floor plan and some images that we have for you. Let's put them up on the screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Donut.
So start with the floor plan and the circle. That is the main front door, because there's actually two front doors, but that's the main front door that goes into the foyer to the left.
On a fucking in a snowstorm. And remember, it's tradition. She said, it's tradition that we do this. I bring 6 donuts. Did you say a coffee too? And I leave it there in the car. 6 donuts on his birthday. I've never even heard of anything like that. I've never even heard anything like that. Who does that? In a snowstorm, in a blizzard, bring 6 donuts over. Okay. 6 donuts.
Of it is the study. The picture on the top left, the circle to the left, that's right where that front door is. And then you see the entrance to the study. The bottom picture, you can see where in the house the study is. That's the rectangular, long horizontal square, rectangle. And then the longer vertical rectangle, that is the main front door. So these are the 2 areas that are closest to the flagpole, closest to where John O'Keefe, according to the prosecution, was murdered. But what we heard from the testimony was nobody was in the study. Okay, so where are people? Well, people are described as being in the kitchen and the dining room. So let's take a look at that. Start with the floor plan. That's the dining room, which opens up to the kitchen, which is just behind it. You look to the top left photo. That's from the kitchen looking into the dining room area. So it's one of those gatherings, right? People get together. They seem to hover in the kitchen, and it opens to the dining room where there's more seating. So what do we see when we look at the front of the house? Those are 2 windows, okay? 2 windows that are sort of in the middle of the home, not the closest to the flagpole, but could you see what was happening by the flagpole from there? Would you see or hear a murder if you're in the dining room, okay? Let's get to one other room where people were described as being, which is the living room, which is a little further down, right? You can see where it is on the floor plan. There's another front door that takes you into the living room. So they have 2 front doors. You look in the living room, what do you have? You got the fireplace, and then you can see where the door is there and potential windows. I don't know how much you're seeing there, perhaps a little bit towards the left, but what you're really seeing is the driveway. And you're seeing the front of the house. So a lot of questions that I have. Again, we're focusing right now on the prosecution theory that the murder took place on that front lawn with people in the house. Does it make sense? Should people have seen something, heard something? Let me bring in my guest. Joining me, Karen Reed supporter and expert, Nick Rocco, defense attorney Joseph Krowski Jr., who at one time represented a nephew of the homeowners, Colin Albert, and the YouTuber behind the Yellow Cottage Tales, Kevin Lenahan, is with us. Okay, I'm going to start with you, Kevin.
Can that guy just get somewhere in his house where it doesn't look like he's literally in a basement, something like a 1970s basement? And like, come on, you got Vinny in a suit. Everybody else is dressed for the show. And you got Kevin in his fucking Narragansett fucking oversized sweatshirt. Come on, man. Let's get some class going here. You're on national TV, actually world TV. Come on.
All right.
Jeez,
why?
Christ.
How could a murder take place in the front of that house and no one inside the house notices anything? Explain that to me.
You mean take place outside?
Yeah. We're going with I'm trying to set the rules here. We're going with the prosecution theory first, that the murder took place outside, close to the flagpole, and yet people are in the house. We showed you where the windows are. We showed you where everything is. Why doesn't anyone inside the home notice a murder taking place?
Well, the state's theory is that she backed up at 23 miles an hour for 60 feet, right? How long does that take? A few seconds, a couple of seconds? So if you didn't happen to be looking out the window and, would you have heard?
They're throwing this graphic up on page. It sucks because people are going to his YouTube channel and they're going to get misinformed. They're going to get misinformed, in my opinion. It just sucks.
Something. Well, it's the winter.
You
got the storm windows up. It's windy outside.
It's Brian Albert. I think this is really Brian Albert. I think Brian Albert is Plevin.
It's snowy. So I think it would have been just kind of random luck if someone happened to look outside and see what happened.
Joseph, what are your thoughts about that? Not having an eyewitness or an ear witness to this alleged murder that prosecutors are saying happened.
Well, good evening. Not many murders do have eyewitnesses, right? A lot of them that don't end up at trial. You got to look at the geographical positioning of the house on the lot and where the locus of the actual accident was. It was to the front, to the left. So it doesn't look like there's a good vantage point. Not only do you have the conditions outside, but you have the conditions inside, right? This is an after party. I would imagine people were loud and boisterous. People were coming and going, and we heard testimony that Brian Albert Jr. had friends over. Anyone knows anecdotally, you huddle in the kitchen, people are laughing, having a good time, talking. I don't know if you would necessarily hear a car striking a human being. It's at least more plausible than not hearing 12 people not hearing or seeing a human being get pummeled to death inside.
We're going to get to that in the next segment. We'll get to that in the next segment.
Sure, I think
that's why I try to set the parameters best I can. The best that I can.
You do a great job of doing it. One thing, though, Matt Johnson, he did say something. I just have to correct him about, and Alan Jackson said it was, I think, ludicrous or pathetic, his explanation.
It's been like the $1 billion question ever since all this started. All those people coming and going and no one saw a thing. Let me ask you a question. Why were there so many people coming and going? Why were there so many people coming and going the next day too? And they were allowed to go in and out of that house. I mean, you're at you're now at like 8 o'clock in the morning. There's still no active crime scene there. There's no one there investigating. There's no crime scene tape. There's no one walking around asking neighbors or anybody that's in that neighborhood, did you hear anything last night? Can anybody answer any of these questions? I mean, what the fuck? I can't even. I can't believe it. Well, I guess I can believe it. It is Canton PD. So, but it's insane. Like, who is allowed to keep coming and going out of that house?
I think Brian Albert was pretty clear and concise that the information he got at 6:30 in the morning was that John O'Keefe had already been transported by ambulance to the hospital. And look, he's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. He stays in because it's an investigation. It's not his investigation. There's no jurisdiction. It's on his property. Had he gone out, the same people complaining that he didn't go out would have said that he was meddling in an investigation that had nothing to do with them. So I just wanted to add that, augment Matt Johnson's introductory segment there.
Absolutely. All right, Nick, your thoughts about the murder taking place on the front lawn. You've got people in the house apparently coming and going, and no one sees or hears anything.
Supposedly.
Well, you know what I think happened. So as far as people not looking out the window, we do know that Matt McCabe was kind of hanging out by the window because in one of his interviews, he stated that he saw V-shaped tire marks outside in the snow, indicating that that would have been when Karen turned around. So if she had hit him, he was apparently looking out the window at the right time and would have seen something. But as far as everybody else, I mean, I just saw the layout of the house there. There's a few windows on the bottom. Yeah, somebody would have had been looking outside at the exact moment or after the fact that she, supposedly hit him. But I do believe that if John was on the lawn outside while everyone was inside, when they were leaving the house to get in their vehicles alone, they would have seen a body on the lawn, and especially Jen McCabe, because she was parked in the driveway. So when they backed out of the driveway and cut the wheel to the right, those headlights would have been exactly on that flagpole, and John would have been laying there.
And that's before the snow falls, right? That's before the 6 inches fall.
It was.
Here you go. I mean, I know this can be debated over and over and over again. We sit here and spin all of this through our heads. The bottom line is this. The bottom line is this, people. If Karen Reed did this, let's think about this. This is the simplest form of anything to conclude all of this. If Karen Reed did this, where is the person that has stepped forward and said, I have the video. I have the video. Here is the video. But no one's camera worked that night. No one's camera recorded. No one's camera was working. If you want Karen Reed dead to rights, and at this point, that's going to be the only thing that would convince me otherwise of seeing a video of her hitting John O'Keefe and leaving him for dead. You know why there's no video? Because it did not happen. And the only reason there's no video is because they're covering for everybody inside 34 Fairview that night. That's why everybody's cameras didn't work. No one's camera recorded everything. Oh, the video footage is missing, and on and on and on. That's the reason why. That is the only reason why.
Slightly snowing at that point, but at that point, when she backed out of the driveway, those lights were on the flagpole.
Okay, I want to take a listen now to Nicole Albert. She also testified, the other homeowner, talking about the next morning, right? You know, what did they see? What did they hear as they're in their bedroom?
So on January 29th, you had 2 bedroom windows on the left side of the house that were facing the front lawn where Mr. O'Keefe's body was found, correct?
Yes.
You're aware that Ms. Reed, Jennifer McCabe, and Carrie Roberts arrived outside your...
That's got to be a rendering. I've seen those kind of renderings before.
Your property around 6:04 a.m., correct?
Yes.
Did you hear any fire trucks that morning?
I did not.
Did you hear any ambulances?
Scott agrees. He says, exactly, Brian. All those cameras in Canton failed because they would show the truth that could not happen. I absolutely agree, Scott. Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, Microdots did that right. But I was like, I've seen that rendering before. And congratulations to Microdots. Keep doing the phenomenal work that you've done in this case. And I'm so proud and happy that some of your exhibits are going to be used inside for Karen's defense. So good job. Good job, Microdots. All right, let's keep playing here.
I did not.
You didn't see the flashing lights of emergency vehicles outside your bedroom window?
No, I did not. My blinds were shut. My curtains were closed. I did not see anything.
Okay, let's put up on the screen now so everyone has an idea where the primary bedroom is, where they were sleeping. You look at the floor plan, it's all the way to the left. there it is. You look to the photo there. You can see which way the bed is situated. You see where the windows are, and then you can see where the windows are on the outside of the house, the closest to the alleged murder scene. Right there is where that flagpole is. Let me ask you, Kevin. They don't know.
That's a good point, Crime. Yeah, the dog would have heard stuff and alerted. I mean, my girlfriend has 2 dogs, and literally a fart outside, and those dogs are jumping up, barking, and alerting. So absolutely true.
Know anything's going on in front of their house until the sister-in-law goes through the unlocked front door and then bursts into their bedroom. Does that make sense to you?
When you first listen to it, and when I first listened to it a year ago, no. But when you process it through 100%, look, we had an incident in my family's house last September where there was a bad storm that went through and the power was out for a few days. On our street, there was a tree down right in front of the house. Later at night, about 9 o'clock, a fire truck came and sat in front of the downed tree right in front of our driveway for about 10 minutes. It had the lights on, but no flashing sirens. My dad was about the same exact distance as Brian Albert would, and he fell asleep and took a nap and never even saw the fire truck come in. So I don't think it's unusual. It's a windy day. People are sleeping. And also, just to reaffirm what Joe said, the dash cam video shows that Jen McCabe went into the house that morning at 6:34 and the lights came on at 6:39. The only way that Brian Albert could have administered CPR to John O'Keefe is if he somehow caught up to that ambulance before it reached the hospital, because that ambulance was gone. So Alan Jackson spreads more nonsense
we'll
than
see.
candy on
That's
Halloween.
going to be the cross-examination on Monday. That's something to look forward to. Let me ask you, Joseph, does it make sense to you that all this is happening right in front of the house? The primary bedroom is the closest to the crime scene. Flashing lights, lots of people screaming. What are your thoughts? Does it make sense that you're not woken up until your sister?
How did no one in that house hear Karen Reed screaming? I mean, you heard the 911 call. How would you not hear that outside your house? How would that not alert you? And let's go back to crime sleuthing. They have a dog. Wouldn't the dog start barking if they heard screaming? The dog has better hearing than we do. Wouldn't that alert the dog when she heard the dog heard screaming? It absolutely makes no sense. I didn't know what was going on outside the house. Come on, bro. Come on.
Sister-in-law opens an unlocked front door and then goes into and opens your bedroom.
Sure. I think a lot of us have similar stories to Kevin's about police response, emergency response in neighborhoods where you have discussions with your neighbors the next day and they didn't see anything or hear anything. You also have to remember they had gotten home they had went to bed at around 2:30 in the morning. They had been drinking all night. And when I saw the cruiser cam footage, it didn't seem to me that there were sirens on any of the emergency vehicles. I could be mistaken, but I think what they say lines up with the video of Jen McCabe going in the house, the lights going on. The story is plausible. It's believable. It's consistent.
How would you not? How would you not hear anybody in this situation? You have a cruiser with its lights on. You have a hysterical woman that's screaming outside the house. How would you not hear that? How would you not hear that?
I think that the position of the body, where it was such, just straddling the property line between the two houses where there were no sirens, I think it's certainly believable.
Nick, I'll give you the final word on this. Does it make sense to you?
Well, let's just say we believe her testimony and her blinds and curtains were shut. You know, she may not have heard sirens. She may not have seen lights, but there were 2 phone calls to her at 6:09 and 6:07, and they were both picked up. The Celebrite data shows that whether it was Nicole who answered the phone or Brian, somebody answered the phone, and it's going to be proven in court. So regardless of what they saw outside, they knew early that morning that John was outside.
All right, Kevin's saying it's a voicemail. Again, that's something else that's going to develop during the course of this case. All our guests are staying with us. When we come back, will evaluate the scene now based upon the defense theory that John O'Keefe was ambushed.
Man, you don't think that anybody was down in that basement, standing on that weight bench, looking through that window, going, "What's going on out there? Let's take a look. Let's hide." That was one of the things that I always noticed when I first drove by the first time, and I saw that basement window. I said, "That's where they watched everything unfold. That's where they watched everything unfold from outside." When all the police showed up, that's where they were going, and that's where they were looking, because that little window is kind of covered by the the darkness and cover of night. That's where they were spying through that window, watching everything that was going on out there. I'm telling you. I said, "Oh my God, look at that window at the bottom of the foundation." That's where they were all looking that night.
Bushed inside that house.
Right there.
Scan now.
You recall your husband and Brian Higgins left your view and went to some other place in the house that evening, correct?
They could have.
Ms. Albert, how many steps is it from the front door to the basement?
Steps?
It's not that hard.
Okay. We're going to take a look at this situation from the defense perspective, the defense theory that John O'Keefe was ambushed in that house. Was he ambushed in the basement? Did John O'Keefe go in the basement? How many steps is it to the basement from the front door? Let's take a look. We've got the floor plan of the home, and you can see in the picture to the left, the arrow goes from the front door towards that table. Now that table backs up to the wall that is in front of the stairwell going down to the basement. You just go right around the corner there. Just in front of the entrance to the kitchen is where the door is to the basement. Now let's take you down into the basement so you can see what's down there. There's a huge workout room that we saw on realtor.com. Not sure if that's what was going on there on that night, if that's how the setup was, but that's how it was set up on realtor.com. And then there's a little bonus room on the side that looks like it's nicely finished.
I want to take a moment here. Get about 600 people in the chat. Thanks for joining Let's Talk Live tonight here on LTL Media. I appreciate y'all jumping in. If you're first time over here, please make sure to subscribe and comment. Join the chat. We love the chatters in here. If you're for or against Karen Read, let's hear it. Chat in the chat. And if you haven't subscribed already, and folks, do me a favor. Make sure you turn on your bell notification, because that's very, very important. So you get all the notifications when I drop a video or go live. And just a reminder tonight, 25% of all donations that come in will go to Karen Read's Defense Fund. You can donate various ways through the chat. And so far, we're up to $215 total. So 25% of that will go out to Karen's defense. And that would be $53.75. I'll round it up to $55. So we're at $55 right now for her defense fund. All right, let's continue here with the Court TV segment. And then I do want to play the segment what happened with Turtleboy the other day inside the court on Friday.
Finished. Let's bring back in our guests, Nick Rocco, Joseph Krowski Jr., Kevin Lenahan. Let me ask you, Nick, do you believe John O'Keefe went down to the basement? And do you believe he was ambushed inside that home?
Excuse me.
John O'Keefe 100% went in that basement. We know he went in the house because his Apple Health data shows 3 flights of stairs, okay? One other important fact is Brian Albert said today that he brought Brian Higgins upstairs to view pictures. But in Brian Albert stated that. In Brian Higgins' proffer with the feds, he stated he's never been upstairs. Yep. So when they're all downstairs, right, a fight breaks out. Chloe's downstairs at some point, and
Chloe is the dog. Chloe's the dog. Correct. Just want to make sure.
There is a reason why. So the layout of that is basically you have 2 separate sides of the basement with a bathroom in the middle, and they're claiming that, oh, there was a plumbing issue. That's why we did the basement floor over.
Bullshit.
So when they ripped up all the rug because it was soaked in blood, 3 pints of blood actually, because that's how much blood John had lost. They also ripped up all the plywood floor. They put new plywood floor down, but no rug. So when they sold that house, right, the whole basement floor is all plywood. Now, I have property. When a flood happens, you rip up the area that's wet, moldy. You don't rip up from wall to wall. Why would you do that? Because Nicole Albert said today they couldn't afford to live in the house. They couldn't afford to maintain the house. They had no money.
Said it in testimony.
So all of a sudden they had money to rip up the floor? No. You found 6 drops of blood outside. The gash in the back of John's head was 3 inches wide, and he was drinking. His blood was thin. There would have been blood all over the snow outside. It would have been way too much blood to put in solo cups. Where are the 3 pints of blood? I mean, John O'Keefe was in that house.
Kevin Lenahan, your thoughts. Did John O'Keefe go into the basement?
GPS was designed by the U.S. military to fly a cruise missile 1,000 miles through an open window.
God.
Okay, it's the most accurate location data in the world. And during the time when the defense alleges that John was climbing up and down 3 flights of stairs, exactly during that time they were driving to the house. That's what GPS shows. GPS shows that at least his phone never went inside the house, never even went towards the driveway. The phone was found, and the GPS shows roughly where Karen parked, at the edge of the property. So the idea of John going in the house becomes a stretch. It means he had to have dropped his phone and gone in there. As far as all this information about what happened in the basement floor, I don't know where Nick gets that from. Maybe he has a source that I don't know about, because it's not anything that's revealed in the records.
Joseph Krowski, your thoughts
FBI
about
confirmed that he went
John
inside the
O'Keefe
house.
entering that home
The FBI
that
confirmed
night?
all that data.
So, look, I appreciate what Nick does. I've spent my career, I've argued third-party culprit evidence. I've argued that police have poached or coerced witnesses. I've argued police have planted evidence. But in this case, what is the genesis of all of these theories? At some point, you have to have recipient witnesses in evidence. Just like too many of the theories to date, this seems to be made up of whole cloth without any evidence whatsoever. If John O'Keefe went in that house, why did it take Karen Reed a year to make that allegation? Why did she go to Stoughton District Court and her lawyer say, if she hit him, it was an accident? If she had seen him go in that house, don't you think when she showed up at that scene at 6 a.m, she would have been demanding an explanation for what happened? And as far as the staircase, look, it's one of those interesting things. And no disrespect to Nick, again, but I think the followings just become way too obsequious. No one wants to question anything. I know from dealing with forensics, you cannot completely, solely, exclusively rely on data, including Apple. I mean, this could be a battle of the titans between Google and GPS and Apple, but until we hear the experts, I don't believe they're going to be able to establish that he climbed 3 flights of stairs in that house. And the theory about the basement, where is the evidence? Where's the witness? That floor wasn't torn up, my understanding was, for several months after that, and it was part of an insurance claim. Just like trying to sell the house, Nicole Albert was able to answer without delay. We contacted what's called a prior consistent statement. We contacted the realtor before anything happened on that front yard. And by the way, if I lived there and people are driving by and it become a tourist attraction and people were gawking at me and name calling my family, I would probably move my family out of that house too.
But this story didn't start getting a lot of coverage until Turtleboy started reporting it in April, and they moved. So nobody was driving by that house at that point. They were left alone for a very long time. And there is a reason why Michael Proctor only got geofence data for Google phones. Not a lot of people have Google phones. Majority of those people in that house had Apple phones. Why didn't he get the Apple geofence data? Because it would put John in the house. Because Michael Proctor is covering up for everybody in that house. It's a fact.
So I think something really interesting. Let me go. I'll go quick, Kevin.
Oh my God!
I'm going to go with Kevin first. Go
Kevin
ahead,
with
Kevin.
the fucking pen like Grant.
Just as a really quick piece of data here. So they know exactly where John was when he entered into his phone 34 Fairview. And it was a little over a mile away because John had never been to the house before. And as Vinny said, driving there, it's about a 5-minute drive to get from the waterfall there. And from that spot where he entered in.
So you're telling me, I was thinking about this the other day. You're telling me that in 5 minutes, Karen Reed inside with John O'Keefe inside the waterfall, within 5 minutes, we have testimony. They were not anything out of the sorts. They were having fun. Karen didn't seem impaired. John was having a good time. That's what everybody testified to. So within 5-minute drive, that all of a sudden they get inside Karen's SUV. It takes this 5-minute drive, and within 5 minutes, she turns into this murderous rage person that's just gonna scheme this whole thing up and run John over and then take off. It's virtually impossible. It could not happen. It could not happen.
To the ways of 34, it took them 4 minutes to get there. They actually shot past the street and had to turn around. That is exactly during the time when Rich Green, the data expert for the defense, says John was inside the house and going up and down stairs. It's just not even possible, according to 2 separate reliable sets of data.
All right, we are out of time for tonight. We're out of time for this week, but Monday's a big day. Cross-examination of Brian Albert.
I can't wait to
I'm going to make sure, I'm going to send out subpoenas over the weekend, make sure all 3 of you come back on Monday. But thanks so much, guys. Have a great.
All right, we're going to pull back from Vinny here. All right, let's play the drama that happened inside the courtroom the other day with TB, and then I'm going to wrap this up. All right, here we go. At least I think we got it. Should start playing here in a minute. Let's see. And then I have a special treat at the end of the show before we wrap it up. I got something that I want to put together. All right, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? All right, here we go.
Thank you. Please be seated. Close back. Back on the record on the Reed matter.
All right, sort of a side issue in the Reed matter. So the defendant and her lawyers have been excused. Okay, so why don't counsel identify yourselves, please?
Sure. Adam Lally for the Commonwealth, Your Honor.
Karen McLaughlin for the Commonwealth. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Timothy Bradel on behalf of non-party Aiden Carney, who for the record is present in the courtroom.
Does Mr. Carney want to sit with you?
I think he's okay right there.
Okay.
If that's all right, Your Honor.
All right. So Commonwealth, so I do want to say a question before we begin. Commonwealth, in your motion to exclude an individual charged with witness intimidation in connection with this case from the courtroom during the testimony of certain witnesses, before we begin, are you advancing the concerns of the DA's office or the concerns of the witnesses themselves, or both?
Both, Your Honor.
Okay, so
if I may, I'm sorry to jump in, but just if I may, I do have what I think is a pretty substantial procedural objection.
Okay.
Maybe I'd ask that you sort of just make a quick bifurcation of the issues here, and we can address the procedural issue before we get into the substance of the motion.
Sure, I'll hear you.
We could. Thank you very much, Your Honor. Your Honor, so the record is clear, because we may need an appellate record in this case.
Okay.
But I was here in the Norfolk Superior Court today, completely unrelated to Mr. Carney, my client, as you know, in the other matters. And I was here today on the matter of Commonwealth versus Tylee Curry for a motion to suppress.
Which is a case that I am in the middle of that motion to suppress with you.
Exactly. And I actually figured that we wouldn't do the motion and get a date. But I was fully focused on that matter and had no notice whatsoever that the Commonwealth was in the Reed matter, was seeking to exclude my client as a journalist from this courtroom. The first thing is that, and I know the court has a job to do in terms of ruling on this motion, and that's fine. And I ask that the ruling be that it be denied on procedural grounds. The procedural grounds are, Judge, that there's been no service of process whatsoever on a case where the government is seeking to essentially trample all over my client's First Amendment rights as a journalist. On 15 minutes notice. I know you gave me the thing 15 or 20 minutes ago.
And it's more than a half an hour, but I understand.
All right, well, you get the point. So, this is not something that I can process and absorb and make any sort of cogent arguments on the merits of the motion on that time period. And I'm sure that the court respects that. I'm trying to address it as best I can, but I think that the procedural issues here should control. And here's the procedural situation, Your Honor, that the government filed this 6-page motion.
All I gotta say is another hamstring here by the Commonwealth against Turtleboy. Trying to infringe on his First Amendment rights. This is ridiculous. He has been respectful. He's been taunted every time he's been out there at the courthouse to try to get in. Grant has taunted him, called him vile things, and I don't even want to repeat the word that I've heard come out of Grant's mouth, and how that son of a bitch's press credentials have not been pulled or even suspended. Suspend him. Something. There has been no disciplinary action against this clown. Turtleboy has been respectful, has treated this case with respect, has every right to be inside that courtroom and do his journalistic duty to get information out to the world. And they're going to hold him back and allow this clown to be in there. The way that he's dressed looks like he's dragged through the mud, looks like he hasn't showered. He has no fucking respect for a courtroom. He has no respect for anybody in that courtroom. He's doing this to get, I don't know, some attention and eyes on himself. I mean, how do you take this guy serious? It's a joke. He's a joke. And how the SGC has not pulled his press credentials has been unbelievable. This fucking guy has been able to use his Patreon as his credible journalistic source to get his press credentials. I've been applying for months, and they turn around and say, oh, well, we don't use YouTube channels as a credible source. But this guy can use his fucking paid Patreon site. So I've actually given up now at this point for trying to get my press credentials. One, I'm probably never going to get into that courtroom under a press pass. And two, I'm going to put a website together and fucking reapply in a couple of weeks. I'll give you a credible source. You get to use a Patreon as a credible source? That's an embarrassment. At least I'm out here with an actual legit YouTube channel reporting on this. Anyway, I digress. Let's keep playing on here. Brado was on fire, given the amount of time here, and I love this speech.
There's a footnote, too, that refers to them serving this motion on May 8th to the Associated Press. Why they couldn't just pull up my email and serve me is an open question that I'd like an answer to in open court. So they can serve the AP 2 days ago, but they can wait and not even serve me with the motion when I get here to court today on a completely unrelated matter, I might add. So there's some funny business going on here, and there's been nothing but funny business from where I sit from the Commonwealth on Mr. Carney's matters. And here we go again. So
Brado goes, here we go again. I love that.
I don't appreciate that from counsel, from the Norfolk County DA's office, number one. Number two, Your Honor, Mr. Carney has covered this case and written about 350 news articles on this case. He has developed evidentiary scoops on this case that have added to the quantum of evidence in the matter. He's never caused a problem. He wishes to be in the galley of journalists like everyone else and cover the case. There's never been a problem whatsoever. This is more personalized retaliation from the Norfolk County DA's office against Mr. Carney. Another point, Your Honor, is that this matter, as far as the Commonwealth is concerned, is res judicata ×2. Judge Krupp in this very court addressed this exact issue about Mr. Carney covering this matter, being in the courtroom with witnesses that had a stay away order. All the same people that the government is trying to have another bite at the apple with here.
Yeah.
All these people, this was adjudicated fully with the special assistant DA before Judge Krupp, and Judge Krupp ruled against the Commonwealth. Judge Krupp said,
Grant, actually, he looks like he's DJing. That's what these fucking DJs do now. They get behind a laptop and they move like that. Like if you had music like boom, 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 boom. If you had techno music playing, his body movements would move to techno music right now. He looks like he's actually at a rave. It's pathetic. I mean, look at him.
that Mr.
like
Carney
he's
was able to be in the
playing in a
courthouse
rave.
covering this case, regardless of any of these witnesses in the stay away order. The stay away order was exempted from Mr. Carney. Mr. Carney's presence in the courtroom, rather, was accepted from the stay away order. So this is done. This has been adjudicated. It's been adjudicated again, Your Honor, by Judge Pomeroy across the street in the district court. One of these people associated with Mr. Carney's detractors, Ms. Gattani, has taken up with the Commonwealth and
he's pinching a loaf.
Sought charges and sought a restraining order against my client. And Judge Pomeroy recently, as recently, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we were across the street, Your Honor.
DJ Brown Finger. Oh, that's great. DJ Brown Finger.
Seeking to vacate the order under the doctrine of unclean hands because this plaintiff keeps trying to contact my client while under a restraining order. Putting that aside, the ruling in that matter, Judge, was another ruling in support of Mr. Carney's First Amendment rights. It was another ruling that said Mr. Carney was not subject to the restraining order in any court of the Commonwealth. And the reason we brought that motion, Your Honor, was because these same witnesses that the government here is, again, trying to advocate for their own personal issues, those same witnesses somehow took up with this plaintiff across the street, Ms. Gattani, brought her to court here in prior Reed proceedings
I love you got that on there.
Kick out Mr. Carney because at the time she had an operative order against him. And Mr. Carney, to his credit, got up and left and got out of here. And that situation was what we addressed across the street with Judge Pomeroy. He agreed with us and said, you can go to court, you can cover this case. So number two, litigation number two, this has been established. Mr. Carney followed all proper channels. We worked with the SJC media office. He has a press pass. He's doing everything in accordance with all of the rules and regulations that are in place. He's been harassed, and we have it on video, by other so-called journalists on this case.
He's talking about Grant. And I don't know why this hasn't been addressed. I mean, he's in a fucking t-shirt. It's embarrassing that one, his mother as a defense attorney hasn't said shit to this guy and said, can you clean your act up when you go into a courtroom? Let's be a little bit more respectful. And this whole 3-year-old fucking color forms fucking sticker thing on his laptop is super embarrassing as well too. And why it's not been addressed, I don't know why. I mean, you're inside a court of law. Let's be a little bit more respectful here. Jeez.
At the steps of the courthouse, and he just wants to be here. He doesn't want to be an issue in this case. He wants to sit here and cover the case. He's done his job. He wants to watch the trial unfold. And he has an absolute fundamental First Amendment right to do so within the confines of this courtroom and within the confines of time, place, and manner restrictions. He's followed everything, and he's here. We've gone through all of these hurdles, Your Honor, and Mr. Carney triumphed, as he should, because it's the First Amendment that needs to triumph here, not any particular person. And that's what he's doing. And there's absolutely no reason for the government to sneak behind my back to interfere with his First Amendment rights. It's outrageous, and on procedural grounds, I ask you to deny the motion for all of those reasons. And if the court has some hesitancy to do so with respect to these procedural issues, I ask that you set a date give me 7 days or so, so that I can properly respond to this motion on the merits of whatever's in these 6 pages of the motion that I haven't been able to look at. So thank you for hearing me, Your Honor.
All right, sure. And you wanted a response to your question from Mr. Lally on why you were not served, but the Associated Press was served.
That's correct.
So if you talk about that in the procedural part of this, Mr. Lally.
Yes, Your Honor. Simply put, Mr. Bradel, neither Mr. Bradel nor Mr. Kearney are parties to the case. I can't presume that Mr. Bradel's representation on one criminal case is going to extend to a motion of which he would be at best a third party on a separate criminal case. We are required under the SJC rules to serve it upon the Associated Press, which we did.
Okay. So I think that's your record now, Mr. Bradel.
Thank you.
Okay, on the procedural issue.
My head is shaved. I am bald. I don't care. I have a widow's peak. I've accepted it. I'm confident about it. Women love bald guys, but come on. When I started shaving my head and I committed to it, my crown bald spot is not even that bad. Just shave your head. It's okay. It's like you're holding on to your fucking hair. Just let it go. It's only hair. Who cares? But his fucking hair is literally falling out on camera in front of us. Just let it go. Like, who cares? Shave your head. The only reason I started doing it is you can see it. The widow's peak started coming in and it looks dumb. It looks dumb. It's just that you get to a point, I'm a little, my crown right here, but who cares? Just fucking, his crown's worse than mine. Just shave your head, bro. Like literally his hair, he has nothing in the front anymore. It's literally falling out in front of us. Just let it go. And again, the only reason I did it's the widow's peak, but I actually like it. I saved myself a shit ton of money on haircuts. That's a fact. And then just grow a little beard. You'd be all set. Anyway, let's roll through this.
We have a jury out. I do want to address the merits of this as best we can. And Mr. Bradel, at the end of this hearing, whatever I end up doing, if you want to come back and readdress it when there's more time, depending on how I rule, I'll give you the opportunity to do so. But I have to get this trial moving at this point, one way or the other. So I'm going to hear the Commonwealth on their motion. Then I'll hear you, Mr. Bradel, to the extent that you can respond. Okay? All right, Mr. Lally, I'll hear you on your motion.
Your Honor, very shortly,
That's
very
why
simply.
I was laughing to go, oh, where's the head? He's bald. I'm like, I'm bald as fuck. I don't care. I shave my head. I actually like my head shaved. It's easier. I don't care. I've believe me, I have if a woman's gonna like you because of your hair, then you need to look for a different woman.
But this is an instance in which the Commonwealth is not asking that Mr. Kearney not be allowed to cover the case or that he not be allowed to watch the trial. What we're requesting is a partial closure of one individual. And the legal standard for that is essentially a substantial reason. Substantial reason, Your Honor, being that Mr. Kearney has been indicted and has open cases for intimidating witnesses, specifically witnesses in this case. He has confirmed statements indicating publicly that his actions that he's taken in regard to those indictments were to prevent the case from ever going to trial and to intimidate those witnesses. Those witnesses will be called to testify in this case, and what the Commonwealth is simply requesting is that he be excluded physically from the courtroom, not excluded from watching the trial, not excluded from covering the trial, but excluded physically from the courtroom while those witnesses are testifying from the stand.
And the witnesses you told me have expressed concern. What do you say about that?
Yes, Your Honor. The witnesses have expressed concern. The Commonwealth is concerned as to his presence affecting their testimony or their ability to recall. And for all of those reasons, the Commonwealth would submit the administration of justice and the witnesses being able to testify, as well as the witnesses' own concerns are more than meet the test of the substantial reason.
Real quick, I just had a $10 cash app coming from Sandra. Sandra, thank you so much for the 10. We'll add that to the total. So we're currently at 215. Let's add that 10 to the 215. Brings us to 225. 25% of that will get kicked back to Karen Reed's defense fund. We're at $56. I'll round it up to 60. So we'll make it 60 so far. And then at the end of the stream, I'll post receipts on my Facebook page and my YouTube community page. So it's fully transparent for everybody. And you can just go right to her the defense website. And I'll have the link with my receipt. And you can go on there and it'll just say LTL Media Chat Raiser with the date, and we'll put the $60 up there. I appreciate you supporting. Thank you. I do have Venmo. Venmo is right there. Venmo link should come through. All right, let's keep playing through here, and then we're going to wrap this puppy up. It's getting late, almost midnight here on the East Coast. Thank you all for being here, a part of Let's Talk Live, LTL Media. I appreciate it. Subscribe, share, like, whatever you want to do. We'll get through the rest of this, and then we're going to button it up for tonight.
For Mr. Kearney's exclusion during the course of their testimony.
Okay. Mr. Bradel?
Your Honor, the witness's concern has no legal materiality under the law.
Excuse me.
So the answer that I have is, so what? The witness's concern, where does that fit into the law here, Your Honor? This matter has been adjudicated twice. Mr. Kearney has the right to speak on the case. He's gone through all the proper channels to be here. He is not in any way wants to or is trying to make any issue of his presence here. And he's just trying to cover the case as best he can. And this is just a personal vendetta that's been carried out by the Norfolk County DA's office against Mr. Kearney. And, you know, this is where the court needs to hold the line on the First Amendment. You know, this witness intimidation statute, Your Honor, is an absolute abomination. It is going to be struck down. It's just a matter of time. And this is just a continuation of everything the special counsel's been doing to Mr. Kearney. Now,
all right, Andrew, thank you so much for the 10 on Venmo. I appreciate it. Let's add that to the total. So we're at what, 225, 235. I rounded up to 60 with a 25%. Let's do this. So we're at 58, takes us to 60. We'll kick 65 back to Karen's defense fund. Thank you. Let's get this wrapped up.
Now the office itself is doing it. There's no reason for this motion to be allowed, Your Honor. There's no discomfort exception to the First Amendment, Your Honor. There's been absolutely nothing advanced, especially on an emergency basis, which is, I assume, why this is being done with no notice. There's been no establishment of any emergency. There's been no conduct whatsoever on the part of Mr. Kearney to justify this motion. Yeah. And I did happen to see,
I'm sure they are, Dandy,
some reference to the Chestnut trial about published something to the effect of doxing a seated juror. That is false. Mr. Kearney wrote a story on a juror after the jury was discharged. There's absolutely no prohibition or problem or issue with that. And it is absolutely protected conduct by the First Amendment. And it is not in any way a grounds for this court or the Commonwealth to assert any wrongdoing against him.
So I can assure you I am not considering that incident in this. You all know I was the judge. I am not considering that experience in this motion.
Thank you, Ron.
Anything further, Mr.
Nothing
Bradel?
further. Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Bradel, I agree with you that Mr. Kearney is certified by the Office of Public Information pursuant to SJC Rule 119, and that he has a right to be here today. He arrived timely, and that he is registered. I have honored that 119 registration today, and I will continue to honor that. However, my role in this case, Commonwealth versus Karen Reed, is to assure that the defendant's constitutional right to a fair trial are honored and upheld.
All her sidebars and objections and sustains and helping the Commonwealth out when the heat comes down on these witnesses. How do you say that's a fair trial? But I digress. Let's keep moving on.
And because of the chilling effect that Mr. Kearney's presence, I find, will have on the witness's testimony, I'm going to excuse him while the named witnesses in the Commonwealth's motion, Julie Nagel, Christopher Albert, Colin Albert, Michael Proctor, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, Brian Albert, and Yuri Buchanan. And the Commonwealth also today requested Nicole Albert because of the incidents that reportedly have been held at her home. I'm going to excuse him during all of that testimony. Now, in my media order, if you have it, I'm sure your client has it because they're handed out to the press. Under number 1, I say that anyone...
Andrew, thank you for the 20. I appreciate it. We'll add that too. She says, thank you for all that you do. Hashtag free Karen Reed. 25% will get kicked back. We'll add that to the total. So we're at 235. Another 20 goes into the bucket, and we'll take 25% at the end. I'm going to round it to 260. So we'll do 260 right now, and then we'll do 25% of that. All right, let's keep going.
When leaving the courtroom,
appreciate it.
To the media during the trial proceedings may lose their seat and may not be permitted re-entry unless there is available seating. That will not happen to Mr. Kearney. Yeah. I will not take away his seat today. For other witnesses who are not subject to this order, that seat will remain empty. No other person of the media will be able to take that seat in his absence. Okay.
Your Honor, one last thing, if I may, just came to me as I was standing here. Extension in the same regard as to Nicole Albert for the address would be Brian Albert Jr., son of Brian and Nicole Albert, lives at the same address.
It's for the same reason. So Brian Albert Jr. All right. So those are my findings, Mr. Bradel. It should give you enough to seek appellate action if you wish. Okay. All right. Thank you for being here. All right. All right. So I'll take a short.
All right. That's going to wrap that one up. All right. So again, I wanted to go through this court TV segment that I hadn't got an opportunity to do, a little bit of a watch party and just kind of something relaxed to do, you know, kick back and do this on a Saturday night. Let's see. I just had another Cash App come in, I believe. Let's see. Caroline, thank you so much for the 10 on Cash App. She says, I appreciate that. She said, keep up the good work. Thank you. We're at 260 and I'll add in the 10. So we're at 270 and 25% of that's going to kick back to Karen's defense fund. $67. We'll round it up to 70. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. Turtleboy is the one that's one very chilling turtle. Yes. Chilling out. The chilling effect. Unbelievable. But I'll leave you all with this. We're going to kick back 70 to Karen. And I'll leave you all with this. I see it. Maybe you will see it. But I definitely see it. I see it. They're either doppelgangers or brothers. I don't know. But I see it. I see it. Do you see it? I definitely see it. All right. We've just hit midnight here on the East Coast. I love all of you. Thank you all so much for being supporters of this amazing community, this amazing channel. And there's so many other things here that I want to do and continue to do. I will not stop. I will not stop. Love me or hate me, I'm going to be here. Thank you again all so much. I'll get the receipts to Karen Reed's donation just after I get off here. I'll post them up for transparency. And of course, you can always just go right to the website and see it. It'll say LTL media chat raiser. I'll put the date there. I appreciate you. I will be back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Jess Machado from the Fall River Report, and she's going to talk about her day in court, day one Karen Reed trial. I want to hear all the juicy details. I know you all want to hear the juicy details. 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Eastern Standard Time. Come join me, and I'll be live on Monday, streaming the Karen Reed trial, and we'll get to watch Brian Albert under cross-examination from Alan Jackson. I cannot wait. I know you all cannot wait. Thank you all so much for the donos tonight. Let's keep the Free Karen Reed movement going. We still have a very, very long time through trial. Keep informing people. Let them know this is a cover-up, this is a sham, and this is a frame job on a very, very, very innocent woman, and we need to find justice for John O'Keefe. Everybody get some sleep. I love all of you. I will be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come hang out in the chat. I love you all. Bye.
Take the